Hi, welcome to Kate's Paper Creations. This is Kate. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Washington State, and I am here to welcome you to my weekly simple stamping video and blog, where I try to make simple cards simply beautiful. So let's get started. I am going to show you the simple card that I'm making this week. And as I've said before, you probably don't need a tutorial or instructions on how to make a simple card because they're so simple. This might break the rules a little bit, I don't know. But this is just a standard A2 greeting card. It's made with basic white thick, and it is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then the paper that you'll see here, both layers. The first layer is, this is what it looks like. It's from True Love Designer Series paper. It is currently available in the mini catalog, January to June 2021 mini catalog. And that's going to be ending the end of June. So you've got a little while yet to acquire this, but I think it's available while supplies last kind of thing. So if you are interested in this particular papers, you might want to look into getting them sooner rather than later. So layer 1 is this particular design. This paper had flower designs and geometric designs and some polka dots. It's a very pretty paper. You can see a sample of it, of course, in the online store, or you can go to my blog and see more there. So that's layer 1. Then layer 2 is also just from that same True Love Designer Series papers. And I cut it, get my paper here, can't remember. Let's get it so we don't get you wrong. 3 3/4 by 5. Yes. And both pieces, both layers are just attached with Stampin' Seal adhesive. And then this sentiment came from Pansy Patch, which is one of the new sets in the new catalog. And it's found on page 29. And I just stamped it with Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And the Stampin' Tag, or the sentiment tag, is one of the Hippo and Friends dies. And it is this one right here, this smaller die right there. So, I loved these frames, so I bought these dies, but I didn't buy the hippos. I should have. But anyway, they're available in the current catalog. They're coming back, so you can still get those as well. So because this is such a simple card, and I know you can do it, I have prepared 2 more cards where it is stepped up just a little bit. So let's bring in the next one, and I'm just going to explain it as well. It is also just a standard A2 greeting card base made from basic white thick. And then this is the same flower paper from True Love Designer Series papers. And I colored them. And I colored them with, the leaves are colored with Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent. So I colored them in with the light soft succulent and then came back with the Evening Evergreen and added some shading. And then each of the flowers are colored with Mango Melody, which is this one, Pale Papaya, which is this one, and So Saffron, which is this one. So you can kind of see. I did cut one out just to show you how I colored. I'm not super artistic, but I do pretty good. So anyway, I used blender pens and our ink pads. And if you haven't used them before, let me show you how I've done it. Most of you probably know how to use them. Let's see if I can find the one that's the right color. There we go. Look at that, first try. So this is the soft succulent green. And when I'm coloring, because when you first get the ink on your pen, it's going to come off darker and then get lighter as you use up the coloring that's in your pen or on it. I start in the center and work out from there. And I'm not real, it doesn't leave lines or anything when you're using these blender pens. So you don't have to really worry about like following lines or anything. And, you know, and then again, I am not a perfectionist. So you will find me being willing to just get through this in a big hurry. I think I might have had some evening evergreen on this pen when I started, so that one leaf is a little bit darker than I probably would have started. This one's more true to it, and then I would have come back with the evening evergreen and just picked up on some of the accent here coming out from the center like this. And there's the leaves. Now let's see. I used a different pen for each of the colors. And basically the flowers, I did the same thing. I am just not real fussy about, there we go. I think that one is this So Saffron one. And just getting a good amount of ink on there and starting in the center and moving out. And as you can see, I just go for the gold. Go for the gusto? What do you want to call it? And, you know, I'm sure that people who are so wonderfully blessed to have that artistic bent probably are far more cautious and careful and take their time and everything. But I don't know. That's not me. See, and then I'm going to come back and I'm just using, I'm touching and using the darker color here. These marks that are on here, they're like shading marks. And so if you just follow them, you're going to add color where it needs to be added. You don't have to, it's kind of, the thinking has already been done for you. The shading is already there. You just need to add it and follow those little hash marks and you'll be all set. There. And you can see how the flower starts to come together. And we'll do one more since I've got it here for you to see. I might as well do one more. Let's see, which color is this? I think this is the pale papaya. Let's find out. I've had these blender pens is what they're called. I'm not sure what page they're on in your catalog, but I'm about ready for some new ones. I've been using mine for actually quite a few years, actually. And I think they're starting to get a little dry. They would color a lot better if they weren't getting dry. So just so you know. And this paper, this designer series paper holds up quite well to being colored. I did some coloring on it previously with colored pencils, and it took the color beautifully. It was a very true to color. And then you can come back when you're using colored pencils, you can come back with the blender pen, an uninked blender pen, and smooth out any color lines or anything that you have with the colored pencils. They work really great. And to get a lighter or darker, it's really easy to do shading with the colored pencils, because all you have to do is just color lightly to start with, and then come back and press a little bit harder, and then that blender pen, you come in with that and it'll blend that darker, those darker accents right in. And so coloring with colored pencils is a lot of fun. So if you don't have the colored pencils, I would encourage you to consider getting them. It's just another way to color, and it can be a lot of fun. And sometimes they work better than, you know, they're called watercolor pencils so that they can be used with the watercolor paper and moisture and all of that. And that's another whole different technique that I'm not going to get into here, but they color with they color just regularly too. So there's how I did the flowers. Aren't they pretty? And it's just not very hard at all to get some shading in there. You know, don't let those images that need coloring scare you. You know, there's a lot of stamps in our catalog that require coloring, and it used to scare me, but it doesn't anymore. So I hope it doesn't scare you either. So that's what I did here. I just colored the flowers, and then I put this ribbon in the back. And you know what? If you hold on just a second, let me grab my cheat sheet. I left it down over here. so I can, I am back. This is called Gold Fine Art Ribbon, and it's found on page 139. It's a carryover ribbon, and it's in the current annual catalog, the new annual catalog. And so I just put that behind it. It's about a 10-inch piece with the ends cut at an angle, and I used glue dots to layer it. This is, again, the die from the Hippo and Friends die set, and the stamp is still just stamped with tuxedo black. So that's one way to step up the card from this to this. Now, let me take you on one more trip for the final step up. Again, Whisper White, basic white base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, burnished and folded. And instead of, oh, I already put my name on the back of that one. Instead of using the DSP for the front, I am going to use a piece of regular Whisper White, and I have embossed this with the brick and mortar embossing folder, and it's found on page 154 of the current annual catalog. And I am going to just attach it to the front flat with Stampin' Seal. I just love that brick and mortar. This is also cut at 3 3/4 by 5, just like the first one was. And so it does leave a border around. You could put, you know, as a matter of fact, I think I planned on doing that. So let's go back one step. I have this piece cut. It is 4 1/4 by 5, so it will cover the entire card front. So we'll be coming back to matching this original card. And I am going to attach it with Stampin' Seal flat. And like I say, it's going to cover the entire front of the card, so it's not going to have any border. Get that first corner right where I want it, then hopefully everything else will fall into place, and it does. There we go. So there's the card front, and then I'm going to attach this again with the flat with the Stampin' Seal, and it's the 3 3/4 by 5, and it's just centered on here. Get it so that we center it. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. So it's centered on there. So then we have that lovely background. Then I have already prepared these pieces. So this is some of that designer series paper. I cut the flowers out, I colored them, and I added some Wink of Stella to them. And I'm just going to attach them with dimensionals. And I got quite a few on the back of this. Because it is paper, I felt like it needed a little bit more support than I would normally put on a piece of cardstock. And so it's got quite a few dimensionals on it. Some of them I cut so I could get them out to the ends of these leaves. And I'm going to put this on kind of towards the bottom, about like that. There we go. And then I cut out the same shape with the Hippo and Friends die. This time I stamped the sentiment with the Evening Evergreen. I thought it looked a little bit nicer with that color. And then this little edge, I took one of the blender pens and the ink pad, and I just colored the edge just up to where the stitching marks are. And it's going to get attached with dimensionals as well. Just like that. Because I needed it to stand out a little bit better against the white background. It was white on white, and I wanted it to have just a little bit of pop, I guess you'd say. Then I made a bow, and this is from Playful Pets Trim. It's on page 140 of the current catalog. It's also a carryover ribbon, and but I really like it. I doubled it up and made a bow, and I'm going to just attach that. I'm not a big bow fan, but but I just liked bringing in that black and white with the trim and with the paper and everything. And so there is that piece stepped up even further. So then you've got all three: simple, stepped up, stepped up. Now I wondered about this, and I saw somebody do this. They brought in another one of these and they put dimensionals on it as well, and made layers. Oops, I don't want to stick it. I just want to show you, which is a possibility. I mean, I didn't take the sticky off these. I'm just going to lay it here. But you could bring it in and add another layer, and it kind of sets up and gives more depth. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there if you wanted to do that. I think I'm going to leave mine alone. I like the way it looks. I hope you do too, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Do check out my online store, and you can also check out my blog. And at the blog, I have information about how to join Stampin' Up! If you're interested, because in the month of May, if you join for $99, you get $206 worth of merchandise and free shipping. So if you want to know more about becoming a demonstrator, drop me a line, and we can get together and chat, okay? And I'm glad you stopped by. And thank you again to all of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel. It really means a lot to me, and I appreciate your patronage. Thank you very much.